My name is Trina the Storyteller, and today I would like to introduce you to a woman by the name of Carola, who had her own communication company that she built from the ground up in San Antonio, Texas. One day in October of 1997, one of her employees' ex-boyfriend came and shot and killed two people and shooting Carola in the head. And through all of it, the trauma, the loss, the grief, the long recovery, one thing never wavered: her faith. Today, Carola is here to share not just a story of survival, but a testimony of what it looks like when the hand of God is on your life, when evil comes close enough to touch you and you're still standing. Tell me about your business and what you were doing and what did it mean to you to have that built?
Well, we had a business that had been about 10 years old at that time, and it started as a paging company when it first started. The paging company industry, the pagers were huge, and it had morphed, and we had really the Walmart of pagers come into town and start offering them at like $1, really discounting it. So we then contracted with cellular phone companies and to actually rent out cellular phones and sell them. And then to become a one-stop communication center, we added an answering service component.
What was the culture like in your workplace? What kind of environment were you trying to create for your employees?
Well, we wanted a team building environment. So I was really a novice when it came to team building. It was a learning experience for me. It's business development for me as well. So as we were growing the business, it was learning that component, and we were trying to create an office where we gelled, where we trusted each other, where we understood we could almost finish each other's thoughts, that was what we were working towards. Right about that time, we were really having a good energy level within the team.
All right, so tell me about the employee you lost. Who was she? Not just an employee, but even her as a person.
Pamela was one of those people that appreciated the work that was given to her and was really trying to do everything she could to do things right, like show up on time, be there when needed, and just doing the extra stuff, giving the extra energy. And really that was a little bit of what everybody in the room was doing. And so yes, and Juanita was another employee. She was handling more the collection side of things, and again, just really taking ownership of that role, which is what one needs. They were all trying to do that. So
at some point, people around her started noticing that something was wrong in her personal life. What was that like? What was going on?
Well, it's just when you sit around and you take a break, or when you just meet at the water cooler, so to speak, and you start talking about each other's lives, it became evident. I really don't even remember what the details were about it, but it became evident that we were telling her, and not when I say we, not just me, but her girlfriends in the room were all telling her, it's not. This isn't really right for you to be involved at this level. You need to take ownership of your life, and it's not going to be treated that way. And this is not, you're better than that. The component that you realize that you really have a bad boyfriend, and telling her, giving her confidence in herself to really take ownership of herself, and that she deserves better. I don't remember anybody ever saying later, she told me she was going to do this, or she told me that she did it. None of us knew really, I think, how bad she must have had it, because after we realized the personality that she was dealing with, I mean, she must have been afraid for her life. I mean, truly. She had put a restraining order on the guy, on the boyfriend, and he didn't accept that. Later, when the research was done, he had a long list of convictions, and I was told later that the police told her not to go to work because they felt for her safety. And so, but I think she came to work because she felt safer there.
So the day that this happened, that morning, what did it feel like? Were you there beforehand, or you came in after? How did that go?
I got there, so to put it in context, when you have an answering service, you want the ladies and the employees to get there before the rest of the world gets to their office. So the shift change takes anywhere place between 7 and 7:30. So they had been doing the shift change. The shift change had been done at 7:30. I don't remember the exact time I came in. I'm thinking I must have gotten there at 8:10 or 8 o'clock. At about 8:15ish, I was talking to my boyfriend who was in West Texas taking care of his mother with Alzheimer's. She was staying late. She worked the graveyard shift, and she did not. We think again that she didn't call in sick because or tell us what had happened because A, it's the graveyard shift and it puts everybody at a very disadvantage when the graveyard shift doesn't come into work, and B, she felt safer there. But she was staying late past her 7:30 shift to help file. She didn't want to go home, and B, they had also were bringing her breakfast. But she was sitting on the corner of the room, in a corner of the room. This was, you have to remember, this is 97, not the digital age component that we have now. No, emails were not a big thing then. Faxing was a thing. She was sitting with her legs spread out, the papers all around her, and she was just sitting there filing things, putting things in order. I had just gotten off the phone, and there was a storefront with a glass case where we had put product in there, and so and I don't even remember him walking in. And so he walked in and had a 17-aught rifle in his he had like I guess he must have had a sweater or a jacket type thing, and walked past my office straight down into the big warehouse area where all of the answering service and all of the office was at. Then he saw her, went straight for her, and shot her like 14 times. And just went off on her. And so the young lady that was in the collections area, there was an L-shaped desk, and she was behind the L of the L-shaped desk. The wall was behind her, so she had no way out. At this point, am not privy to any. I wasn't in the room when all this would happen. So this is was we think happened because the screaming that took place afterwards, most of the office had exited the exit door at the fire door, escape door that's in that back area, and but we think Juanita was throwing things at him, and tried to climb over the desk to get away, and he shot her I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 times, but he killed her. So
when you faced him in the hallway, like, what do you remember that day?
There was the storefront, there was the glass case, and then there was a little my office, and this really, I don't know, I think maybe it was a 4-foot hallway, maybe 5 feet, and it was just a really small connection between the front and the back. And then there was really this, what I always say, it's a little rinky-dink bathroom. It was just really a really small bathroom. And so I heard pop, pop, pop. This was before Columbine, to give you context, and so this kind of thing wasn't even, to this day, you couldn't fathom this happening. As I remember hearing that, I thought, what's happening? I thought maybe they had seen a mouse. The monitors were huge at that time, and so I thought maybe they had seen a little critter. They had maybe the monitor had crashed to the floor, and they were just startled, screaming, that kind of thing. There was never a dull moment in our in our office. So I can just imagine thinking, okay, what now? So here we go. And so, but either way, I was coming down the hallway, this little nothing hallway, and I remember thinking to myself, what did y'all see? A mouse. And I didn't even get the word mouse out. It was like on the M of the mouse that, his name was Charles, that he was on the other end of the hallway with the rifle, and literally, I remember, my memory of it is that I was looking straight at the devil. His face was so angry, it was distorted. To me, what I remember now is his eyes were red. And later, they did tell me that he was on coke. I'm always very solution driven, so I'm always thinking, okay, in every problem, what is the solution? And at that point in time, all I could think of in that split second was, there's this glass case behind me. There's no way out. If I climb, if I don't have enough time to exit, nothing. The glass case was almost, comes to my chin, right? So, I couldn't even make a leap over it. And so, so my solution, the only thing to me was to just duck into that little rinky-dink bathroom. But by that time, he was so angry that he had took a first shot, and he shot at my foot, and he missed. So then I ducked into the bathroom, and I just crouched. There literally was enough room for just one person to stand and just to go to the bathroom, the toilet. So I crouched down next to the toilet, and I remember just holding my hands, my face in my hands, and he shot again. The door swung open, and then I remember just looking up, like just like this, looking up, and I thought, this is it, Lord. I hope I get to see you in the next few seconds, because this is it. And I saw the rifle come down. He shot me in the head right here. The bullet traveled down the side of my face. The impact of it hitting my inside of my cheekbone knocked the eye out into my hand. It knocked 2 teeth out, it clipped my tongue, and then ended up right here. Later, when reading about these kind of things, your adrenaline kicks in, and that probably is what saves your body in that moment. I think Pat must have passed out a little bit, or there must have been a moment where I had come in and out. But because he left me, got off of me at that split second, and then I remember just saying, and I still with my face in my hands, thinking, I'm still here. And so I thought, okay, so I'm going to go call 911, and I specifically remember not to look in the mirror, because I remember in childhood days or something, when I looked at something that was a wound, I was freaked out. And so I'm like, I don't want to look. But by that time, the people that had gotten away in the back had already called 911. The lady that was Juanita, the collection lady, her cousin was an intern with us, and she was 17, I think. And that age, they are not afraid of anything. they're going to live forever. They're not afraid of anything. So even though she saw him come in like that, she came back through the fire escape door and to see, because her cousin didn't come out with her, and they were as closer than sisters. And so she, when she didn't see Juanita, she thought Juanita had gotten away. Juanita had actually fallen under the desk, so we think that wisp of action energy of Brenda coming back in is what got Charles off of me. In all that time frame, I'm still out of it. I haven't come out of the bathroom yet. But what happened is he went back to where Pamela was, the ex-girlfriend, and and killed himself. He put the rifle under his chin. I don't remember that happening. I don't remember hearing any of that. I wasn't even thinking he could be back there still. None of that dawned on me. All I know is that I needed to call 911. Crawled to my office and called, and they had told me they were already on it. I think they said they were on their way, or I think that's what they must have said that. What happened at that point also is Brenda, the 17-year-old, then had decided to come in through the front. When she came in through the front, she saw me in my office, and she said, "Oh my God," because she looked at my face, and there was a sweater that I have that I still have to this day. I love that sweater. And she took that sweater and she put it on my face. She said, "Put this on your face." And then she went to the back again. She didn't see Juanita because she had fallen under the desk, so she thought Juanita had gotten away. Randy, who was my office manager, was always late for work, and that's what saved his life. And so he was late for work, and so he came in. He said, "Oh my God," and he left. I still had the sweater on my eye, and that sweater I remember getting it when I took a trip to Laredo across the border. That is it is the best sweater ever. So at any rate, it's a car. So just like you see on TV, the entire police station came down, and I remember, I want to say SWAT, but when I look at the pictures, it doesn't say SWAT. It says police on the back of their shirt, and the helicopters were there. The everything had swarmed. Just my father, who had gotten cancer at the time, was actually at the hospital getting chemo with my mom was with him, and they saw on like the breaking news of CNN and all that the local news, however they break in news, there's a shooting on Weidner Road or on Schertz Road at 35 in Weidner, and he later said, that's Carola Street. I wonder if she's okay. And then they later would say, Jane Doe got taken to the hospital. They didn't realize Jane Doe was their daughter. Nobody knew Charles had killed himself, so we all thought he was potentially in there. I remember thinking to myself, okay, I am very hurt here, and why are they not coming to get me? But they kept motioning me to come out, and so finally it dawned on me that he could be back there. So I just quickly ran out, and they got me. They took the sweater off. They said, "Oh my gosh!" They put me in the helicopter and took me off to BAMC. So BAMC, thank good dear Lord, was the closest trauma hospital, and they work on the trauma for the Army. So I had the best trauma doctors in the world working on me. So I was very fortunate there, yes.
What was it like once you got to the hospital? Like, did you know at that point you had lost your eye, or?
No. I remember them ripping I had a vest on, putting them, I remember them telling them, just give me the morphine. And then I told them it was Charles. I went, I believe it was through 14 hours of surgery. Then I was in the hospital for another 3 days, and they did another 7 hours of surgery. And then they just moved me around, I remember, different places. And for some reason, I want to say it was about 10 days, and I was out about a week to 10 days.
When you woke up, what was it like?
I remember being just very swollen, my face being swollen. Being involved in all the organizations that I was, running the show, doing all of that, it was nonstop. So as I laid there, I remember thinking, I was resting. There's just nothing you can do but just vegetate. There was a moment, my sister is here in Dallas. She still works. She works for Wells Fargo now, but at that time it was another investment firm. And they let her off. They paid for her flight to come down and be with me. I remember I'm always cold. I'm like always cold. And I remember I was so hot. And I kept asking them to lower it and lower it and lower it. And this was just through tubes in my mouth, through that's all I remember, just keep it lower. And I remember everybody saying, it is freezing in here. And I wasn't cold, I was just hot. And I remember trying to talk to her, and the way I would talk to her was like through my finger. She understood everything I was writing. And it was just, go pay this bill, go pay this, go do things like office things, managerial things, ownership things that I had no business thinking about. Because I'm solution driven, I also have an amazing amount of faith. Like, I truly believe that if God wished me to wake up tomorrow and I see through an eye that he is capable of doing it without a shadow of a doubt. I believe that. I believe that any God that can split the Red Sea in half can do anything. So when they told me that that I had lost my eye, and that truly, like, there was not going to be an eye there, that I was mad. I was like, that is not true. And that was over within about the madness part was over within 48 hours, because again, I'm solution driven. I just have positive belief and faith. And so now I need to work within the context of what I have. Not that I ever doubted that I could still believe that I truly believe if he wanted me to wake up tomorrow seeing that he could pull it off. I was so blessed to even be alive. At the moment that I'm here right now, I am completely, utterly grateful. I'm completely, utterly blessed. When they explained the bullet, by literally a hairline, it missed all of the areas that could have totally made me not function, not even to be brain dead, to not be able to communicate, to not be able to do anything for the rest of my life for myself. I'm Catholic, and I practice adoration. I've been practicing adoration for years. I want to say maybe 3 years before that point. and I still do. But that is really an hour where you go out of your day and you go visit the Lord in the Blessed Sacrament, and you just sit, you just pray, right? You pray, and there's so many blessings that come from that. So there's one particular blessing I follow that, and in that one of the blessings it says, "You will not die an immediate death." Like it won't, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't. And literally that morning I said the rosary. I had said the rosary that morning. I remember that part. So I was at adoration as soon as I could get back to it. I was back in church as soon as I could get back to it. When you realize that even though I had lost an eye, they were going to get me a prosthetic eye. And yeah, that took maybe 6 months to get it to where we wanted it. But I mean, just yesterday I was talking to somebody and they're like, "You have a prosthetic eye?" And I'm like, "Yes, can't you tell?" So I mean, but what I'm trying to say is the blessing of to be alive and to be able to explain it and to finish more work. Like, did he leave me alive because I was supposed to do more? Did he leave me alive to give a message to say, we don't need to be wasting 1 ounce of time? People ask me, why do you keep working? Why do you do everything you do? And because I truly believe, I was on the side of it where you might not wake up the next morning like that. And at a very young age, I was 35. And so you appreciate every single minute that you have. So in the context of history, even if you live to be 100, in the context of the world history, that is a blip. We're not here, I don't for a second believe, tasked to be idle. We're here to do, I think, some positive things with our lives. We're not here to hate on people. We shouldn't be here to control people. We shouldn't be here to, I think we need to be here to help, to love, to inspire, to lead, to do whatever you can. However, in whatever context. If you serve French fries, you can serve French fries with love. So we're all here, and it's very important because some people really need their French fries. So when all this was happening, I was in the ambition mode. I was in the mode of, like, maybe not to get ahead, but more, I need to get this done. We need to get this moving. This is what's important. We need to get this these budget done. So we need to get make sure that we're in the positive. I mean, everything was coming from a wrong space, very energy draining. Now that I think about it, but after that happened, it was really coming at life from a different space. And sometimes even now with my business, I have another business in San Antonio that is my map. And it's you can be very with everything. You can be very deadline driven, and that can be like, you need to get this done by this. You need to get this done. And after what happened, I'm like, I'm not going to work that way. We're gonna enjoy every minute of time that I spend with people. If it takes me 2 hours to meet with them, I'm going to meet with them. I'm going to be right there with that person, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to do what I can to help it. I'm not going to be like, I need to get this done by this time. And sometimes that comes to bite me because something needed to have been done, 2 weeks ago. But I'm still like, no, I just believe I'm not going to come from that angle. I want to come from an angle where I'm going to do everything I can to do it in a way of helping people, enjoying people, and doing it with intention of how can I, what I do, help you? How can I help you in your business or life if there's anything I can do, or connect you with anybody that I can connect you with?
Through this process for yourself as you meet other people or young women, what's something that you can give them advice for, like being in relationships or things like that?
So first of all, know your value. Understand that you're a very valuable person, especially in the United States of America. You have all the opportunities. Now, granted, it might be harder for some than for others. As a woman, I was like, I was too naive. I didn't know that was like, because I was a woman, things didn't happen to me for me. Understand that you don't need to be controlled. You don't have to put yourself out there where you think that maybe your body gets you someplace to point A to point B, or you have the opportunities to grow and to be all that you want to be. So there are healthy relationships that you can have, and they're there. We just need to understand that we don't have to have things right away. Sometimes it may take 10 years to meet the right person that comes along the way. Sometimes it takes a year. But get to know who you are and take your time, because there's plenty of to be, so that you can grow and be all that you want to that other person, and that person can accept you for who you are, and you can accept them for who they are.
How was it like for, I know he's your husband now, but how was it like for your boyfriend in your relationship as you guys were, this situation happened, you guys both have businesses and your healing process and stuff like that. How was that?
Well, he was very instrumental in the healing process. So we were just dating at the time. We had just gotten off the phone. From the time I walked in, just to give you an idea, I walked into the office at 8:15. I was at BAMC by 8:30. All of what I just told you happened in a span of 15 minutes. Yes. Okay. So, all right. So now he had a business partner, or I want to think somebody that was helping him in sales in his business. He was talking to him after he talked to me, and that salesperson was coming down the freeway to the office when on the radio, the helicopters, everything was happening as his partner, his salesperson, was driving to the office. So he calls him back and says, something's going on that street. And as he's getting closer, he goes, it looks like it's the answering service. It's sounding like it's the answering service. And my boyfriend was like, I just got off the phone with her. Everything's fine. So he calls back, and the phones are just ringing, right? Nobody's answering. And it's an answering service. That's the other thing. If you're an answering service and you're not answering phones, you pretty much go out of business. And I will tell you that within 48 hours, we were back in business. Yeah. So why is that? Is because the office manager that I had, and my boyfriend. I think my boyfriend came back within 24 hours. Between the two of them, I don't know if they wrangled or reorganized, but they somehow worked it out. My customers, that was the painter, the flooring person, the construction person, everybody that was my clients, and people that I had networked with, that was in Rotary or Chamber of Commerce, women that we also had women in business. They all came together in some way or form, and they painted the office, redid the office, did everything. Within 48 hours, you wouldn't know anything happened in that office. And the office manager Randy put up remember, I'm in the hospital this entire time. I have no clue all this is happening. The office manager put up the schedule, and the schedule was always an issue. We could never get everybody to come to work on time. It was always a work in progress. And all it took was one person to go up and schedule himself. And I'm told that once that one person went up and scheduled himself, everybody else went out and put themselves on the schedule. And they kept it alive. They went back. They made it work. So we didn't go out of business. My parents are very old-fashioned. They can't handle this kind of stuff. But they are very loving. They love me. They would do anything for me. My dad has passed away since then, but they're just, this is not their deal. And so I go home to them. My eye needed to be cleaned constantly. It was just different. And of course, my dad had cancer. So what my boyfriend did was he came and he would wash my hair. He'd come and he would come and visit, and at the end of 2 weeks, he knew I could not function with my parents, and so he picked me up, and he never left me after that. So he was crucial in making sure that aspect of it was that he was there. The other side of it was also, So my friends that were part of Women in Business. We were a tight group, and they came and organized the food. So they would come and make sure that the office was fed every day. And the office would pray every morning. They were still fearful, and even though Charles had gone, it's just a bad feeling. just kind of like when you get robbed, right? I've been robbed too before, but you just like it's a bad feeling. So they made sure that in the morning they would pray and make sure that God's healing and Jesus was all on us, and all evil spirits away, and so yeah.
Do you still talk to any of those same people back then? I'm like,
No, actually, no. I need to look them up. It's been 30 years, I think. Now that I think about it, we were in touch. So 2 years later, I sold the business, and I got a really good offer. And we were the second largest answering service. The largest one made an offer, and that was just the right time to sell it. And the yeah, so I've lost touch with all of them, actually. Yeah, I need to connect with them.
how was it like for you, your healing journey, like trying to figure out how to do things the same, like driving, walking?
So, again, I was very blessed. What they told me was that balance was going to be an issue. And so, balance has never been an issue, but I've never tested it too hard. So when I say that is like I've tried to do box jumps, and so box jumps for me are I have to think through that, because I'm like, and I think that's the balancing part. But I've done them and I do them, but it's always a moment of I have to think about this. But as far as like, it's only now 30 years later, and I don't know if it's because of the heels. I'm in heels still or whatever. But and the only other problem I have, where I really I'm like I don't feel comfortable here, is escalators. So going up the escalator, no problem, but coming down the escalator, if it's going too fast, I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm going the elevator. It's just I don't know why. And of course, I'm always in heels, so that doesn't help. Yeah, that's the only time I really see that balance. Now the driving is a whole other issue. So the driving, only since COVID have I really like said, screw this, I am driving. I'm driving, and I've never been afraid to drive. It's really just really going on the freeways, everywhere on the freeways. I'm not afraid of the Dallas freeway or really going from San Antonio to Dallas was always like I don't feel comfortable, but now I'll do it. I've done it since COVID. Because I was flying a lot, and after COVID, the actual flying. I never got back on the right scheduling. You have to schedule them 21 days out or not, and to get the best price, and so I resorted to driving, and so I'm like, okay, gotta do it, and so I did. And so the hard part about the driving is that literally I can't see on the right. So if you were to go around, and I would challenge everybody, put a patch on your right or left eye and just function like that all day. Okay, that is what it turned out to be. Now. It doesn't bother me as unbelievably so. The left eye has taken it up, right? It doesn't like. I forget that I can't see on the right. Now, if I hold my hand like this, I can't see it. So what I have to be very careful of is people that are driving on my right. I have to be very careful when I want to turn right, when I want to get in the right lane. I don't trust the rear view mirror. I'm always looking to make sure twice to make sure that there's nothing coming up on my right. And that's the only thing I fear on the freeways, because people are crazy. They just come up on the right like nothing. But I try to be very aware of that. And so I try in Dallas or in San Antonio. I try to take the side roads all the time. So. But I'm not afraid. Like I have to go to McKinney in a couple weeks, so I'll go on the freeway to McKinney. So that's the only issue. Yeah, I bump into more, not as much as I used to in the beginning. I would bump into things, and because I didn't see it, the corner of desks and cabinets. So, but you learn to extend your hand. And be aware of those kind of things. So, yeah.
Looking back at things now, seeing who you are today, if you could give yourself, the younger version of yourself, any advice, would you give yourself advice to change things or to help you through this process?
What I would change is to really be more, really what I would change is more on the education side, on learning team building, and team building in business, total quality management, had really, doing more of John Maxwell type knowledge at that time that I was at 35. And I do want to say one thing that was like more of a revelation later, which would be the advice that I would give her younger self. And it goes back to the Bible, really. It's like, and this is kind of something I read the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So when Moses goes to the Pharaoh and says, in the very beginning, let my people go for 3 days. He didn't say, let my people go for 3 days to go party, go be with their families. He said, let them go for 3 days to go worship. I think that that's what really we're here to do, is to really go and have that relationship with Jesus and God, and that's what he wants us to do. And so in essence, they were slaves. The Pharaoh didn't let them go. We know the story, from that was the very beginning of it. And in essence, they were slaves to their work, and he made them work harder. And so now, how many times, and I'm guilty of it. I'll say, I can't do to me, it's my daily prayers, my rosary and stuff. I can't do this because I'm busy. I can't do this. I can't go to do this, participate in this, charity giving event because I'm busy. I can't go to church because I'm busy. And in essence, I'm being slave to my work. The same way the people were slaves to their work at that time. So it's just a funny context to me. So I would say, don't be a slave to your work. That really, we need to have God in our lives and go worship and learn from what he wants us to do and apply that to our work. And that would be the lesson I don't know if I don't know that I could have changed the days of that event, the day that all that happened. I don't know. The only thing we could do, and at that time, they had told her not to come to work. She did not tell us that she had put a restraining order on him. Now they tell you have to tell your work. And so, and I don't know if that would have changed. Like, I don't know if we would have told her, oh, come to work anyway, because we didn't know any better, right? So, but, there's a lot of things that we don't know what would happen but I would say be more knowledgeable. And be more knowledgeable also in listening to and being aware of your surroundings. So sometimes people are afraid to say things to your employer. Go to your human resource person or go to your employer. Don't be afraid if you see that your next door person sitting next to you is having an issue that could affect her and could affect the people in your work. Be aware of your surroundings, because you're really helping each other when you take action. Don't just sit and do nothing.
That's right.